majority, and it's just not students, it's pretty much most people that are in the field don't understand the difference. I'm gonna clearly define it for you, and then when I do, we're never gonna go back to criminal law. Everyone clear? Because we're not criminals in this class, or at least none that I know of at this point. Everyone clear? But bottom line, a civil wrong, and again, this is just to get you focused in the area that we're gonna be studying. Does this make sense? We're learning civil law. This is not civil law, okay? That's what we're doing. And it's about what Jeremiah said and with Eli. All of it kind of makes sense. There's no jail time, okay? That's true. But let's break it down really empirically so you really know the difference, okay? With the civil wrong, it's wrongful, but the wrong that occurs is a wrong against an individual interest, okay? So Jeremiah, you were right when you said it's about him and I, okay? I get that, okay? It's wrong, it's like a private interest has been what we call breached. I'm gonna break down words for you. You're gonna hear the word breach a lot, and it's spelled B-R-E-A-C-H, but again, I want you to relax on this. I feel like you guys are so, I love that you're also like eager. You don't even have to take, honestly, you don't have to take notes today. I literally am giving you, I just want you to chill out, have a conversation. Do you understand? Trust me when I tell you you're gonna start on Tuesday. Everyone understand? And if I get into territory that I know you need to know, I'll say, this is testable. Everyone clear? This is just focusing you, I just am very transparent with my teaching on what we're gonna be studying. Everyone clear? So I'd rather have you focus in and comprehend and absorb what I'm saying. And then I'll go, all right, here we go, if I get through it. Everyone clear? So I don't want you, I know you're nervous, but here's great news. All of you have A's today. It's a great day. It's just yours to lose. All of it? Feel good about that, okay? Make sense? Best day ever. All right, so with the civil wrong, it's a breach, which means B-R-E-A-C-H. It's a failure to perform. It's a wrong against basically an individual versus, let's just talk about a crime. A crime is a wrongful action, just like a civil wrong, but it's so wrongful, it's so reprehensible that it's seen as a wrong against society at large, the public, okay? So that's a big difference. One is a private interest that's being broken, and one is a societal interest or a public interest that's being broken. Okay, normally, Jeremiah, I'm gonna just, because it's new, I don't want any questions until I get through all of it, and then I'll take your questions, but go ahead.
I was just curious, like a criminal act?
Let me just explain everything. This is what, I love that you're gonna have questions, but I really will explain it, and then I'll go, any questions? Okay, got it? And please know this, because I know this is all new, you're getting the flavor of how I teach, and I'm gonna know who you are, and I love interest, and I love questions, but I will always make room for questions. Everyone clear? I promise, but let me just, I take a while to explain it, because it's new. Everyone clear? So just hear me out. Okay, so a civil wrong is wrong, and it's wrong against a private interest. A criminal wrong is wrongful, just like a civil wrong, okay? But it's so wrongful that it's viewed as a wrong against public or society at large, okay? That's one big difference. There's another difference. Nobody really cares if you hired a plumber to fix your sink, and they did a crappy job, and you want to sue them because all of a sudden your sink's broken, it's cost you a lot of money to refix it, whatever. No one cares about that. So you file a lawsuit against the guy, right? Okay? Well, that's not a crime, right? But it's still, you believe, wrongful. That's a civil wrong. Everyone clear? Because it's a private interest. It's between you and the other person. No one else gives up, you know what, about that deal. Everyone understand that? Versus someone kills somebody, and whatever that action is, it's wrongful no matter who it is. Does this make sense? See how that works? And because of these very distinct differences in a civil action, the worst that can happen to you, and it's bad. Believe me, no one likes it. I practiced it for years. In a civil wrong, the worst that can happen to you is that you're gonna have to pay some money. Everyone clear? It could be a lot of money. It could take you out kind of money. Everyone clear? In a criminal action, if you're found guilty of it, you could lose your life. Big difference. It's not just about the money. In a criminal action, if you're found guilty, you just want the money, you know what I'm saying? All right, let me just be on the hook for money. But you could lose your freedom, which means you could get locked up. Everyone clear? Worst case scenario, even worse than that, you could lose your life. Does that make sense? So yes, the punishment's markedly different. Everyone clear? Let's keep going. What else is different? Well, in a civil lawsuit, there's no free legal help. Well, there could be, if you, whatever your deal you're making with your people. Everyone clear? But in a civil lawsuit, if you want to sue someone, guess what? It's not on the house. Take out your checkbook. Everyone clear? If you're getting sued by someone in a civil lawsuit, that's the worst position to be in because you didn't ask for it. Everyone clear? You're a defendant. That's the person who's being sued. You know what? Let me back up and introduce some vocabulary, and I'll reintroduce it to you, but this just will make sense. In a lawsuit, in a civil case, the person who believes they were wronged is referred to as the plaintiff, okay? We'll hear it over and over again, and I'll bring it up whenever necessary, but is referred to as the plaintiff. That's the person that claims, oh, that person didn't fix my sink properly. Everyone clear? They were wronged. And the person, and I use the word person, but we're gonna switch that, the person that they're suing that claimed that committed the, here would be negligence in this lawsuit, would be the defendant. Everyone clear? So you got the party in a civil lawsuit that's suing, they're referred to as a plaintiff. The party that they're suing is referred to as the defendant. And I switched it from person to party so you understand something. In a lawsuit, okay, when you're talking about who's suing, the party, notice what I said, it's not what you did last night, the party that you actually has the ability to sue represents, it could be a person, it could be a group of people, it could be a partnership, it could be a municipality, it can be the government, it can be a corporation, it can be a limited liability company. Do you see what I'm saying? It represents a legal entity that has the capacity to sue. That's why the word party is used, but obviously if Joe is suing Sue, Joe would be the plaintiff, Sue, right, would be the defendant. As similarly, the defendant is also a legal entity that has the capacity to be sued, which is again, a person, a group of people, municipality, city, government, it's any of those parties. Does that make sense? So it's a broad, I teach using obviously people because it's easier at the very foundational level, just so you know. But that plaintiff can be, again, anyone that has the legal capacity to sue. And the defendant, who's the one they claim that committed the wrong, is anyone that has the legal capacity to be sued. Okay, they're both represented. So in a civil lawsuit, the one that wants to file a lawsuit because someone owes them money, okay? No one in the state of California is going to pay for that lawsuit other than the person that wants the lawsuit. Do you understand what I'm getting at? And when you're a defendant in a civil lawsuit, it's a horrible position to be in as a defendant. When I was practicing law, I loved it because they're stuck and they need me. You see what I'm saying? It's like, crap, I'm being sued. I'm like, here's what I said. That's too bad. Sorry. Money in the bank, people. Okay, so here's the deal. You don't want to be sued, but guess what? There's no one that's going to pay for your legal representation. You got to take out your checkbook. So you see the difference? So in a civil lawsuit, you're going to understand this. It's all about the money. Let's flip it over to a criminal lawsuit. I think Emily, right, brought this up. In a criminal action, because the wrong is seen as a wrong against the public at large, and whoever committed it is seen as something that's so bad that if anyone did it to another person, it's wrongful, okay? The state takes an interest in it. And it doesn't go to court unless the state determines that there's probable cause that this particular crime was committed, okay? They work with the police department, okay? A lot of stuff has to happen. And then they bring the lawsuit. But who pays for the, quote, plaintiff's representation? That plaintiff is referred to as the victim, okay? And the state of California pays for their legal representation. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, it's called through the district attorney's office. Heard of the DA? If you have, but have you? Take calls? Okay. I know, I'm on people, you watch TV, okay? So, the district attorney's office, right? So, you may not get the DA, but you'll get a deputy DA. They're called district attorneys, deputy DAs, or the prosecutor, okay? They pay for that victim's representation because they believe there's enough probable cause that this crime was committed. Everyone clear? And then who do they believe that committed that crime? Obviously, through their research with the police department, they believe the defendant did. Same name, okay, same title. But now, you're a defendant in a criminal lawsuit. That's a worst position ever to be in, okay? Because now you potentially can have to pay money if you're found guilty. That's what you're hoping for, but hopefully you're acquitted, right? Or you get locked up, or you can lose your life. Because you are innocent till proven guilty, and because the punishment is so tremendous, we, the people in the state of California, pay for the legal representation also of the defendant, because their rights are the most valuable. Why? Because what if they didn't do it? Does this make sense? So who steps in and pays for their legal representation? Have you ever heard of the Public Defender's Office? Called the PD? Don't play with me, folks, I know you have, okay? You guys are looking at me like, I never heard of these terms. Okay, a 5-year-old has. Everyone clear? Called the PD's office. Got it? Public Defender's Office. So the public defender then takes care of the legal representation of the defendant. But let's say the defendant wants the dream team of lawyers. You got the money, you can pay for your own. Everyone clear? Bottom line. Not as the victim, obviously, but the defendant, you're gonna go say, hey, I'm not taking the public defender who's got a zillion cases on their docket. I want my own person because, you know, think about it. Guilty people walk all the time. And let me tell you something, people, money does buy freedom. Trust me, okay? Legal skills are important. Everyone clear? Not to say that aren't great PDs, but it is life. Just give me a reality 101, okay? Now, when you think about the legal representation in a criminal lawsuit of the victim or the state of California, who the prosecutor's office pays for them, and with the public defender's office with the defendant, who actually pays for their representation? We do! Through our tax dollars. Everyone clear? Period. See how this works? Okay, let's keep switching it. So we know private interest, civil law, public interest, crime, no jail time, civil, jail time and or you lose your life, criminally, civil, pay for your own legal representation, criminal, it's on the house. Let's talk about juries, okay? Do you have a right to a jury? You do in a criminal action, okay? Who pays for the juries to sit there and listen to the case? Our tax dollars. Do you have a right to a jury in a civil case? Sure you do. You want them to sit there and listen to your stupid private lawsuit? Take out your checkbook because you have to pay for that. Winner has to reimburse the loser. See how this works? Everyone starting to understand this? Okay, so in a nutshell, I'm just telling you, there's marked differences between civil law and criminal law. So is your legal representation. When I first started practicing, literally off the bat when I was in law school, I started, everyone wants to start their career in criminal, okay? I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to rewrite history because I still would have picked the option for more money, okay? I am being honest. I started working with the district attorney's office and the PDs. I pretty much tried everything to see what I wanted. I loved it. But when corporate came to me and said, this is what we're gonna offer you, and dangled that carrot with a ton of zeros after my name, I'm like, see you later, criminal, I'm in civil. Even with the attorney, I'm in it for the money, okay? That's how people wanna know, you can make a lot of money in criminal law, but it takes a while to get there. Does that make sense? In civil law, not so much. You can start right off the bat, depending on your skill set. Everyone clear? but please know this. I generally know criminal law. I used to know a lot better when I was practicing. But like, that's not what we do in this class. I wish it was. Why? It's so exciting, okay? I always dreamed of teaching criminal law. Just not gonna happen, okay? I'm qualified to. I've asked the school if I can do it. They have a class like that, it's called Administration Justice. I should be teaching that class because I know the law. They have people that aren't lawyers. Anyway, do a little promo, tell the dean that, okay? But the bottom line is, we'd have a dead body, we'd figure it out. It would be such a fun class, okay? We'd figure out the homicide, we'd all be detectives. It would be super fun. Anyway, sadly, that glamour, that fun that we're gonna learn, forget about it because it's not this class. Everyone clear? What are we gonna be learning? It's all about the money. Everyone clear? Show me the money, folks. That's what we're talking about. Civil law is all about money. And it's all about private interests being violated. Everyone understand that? Got it? So, if I bring up examples, which I will, using criminal law, it's because the concepts are the same, but the laws and penalties are very different. You understand that? Any questions? Okay. Jeremiah.
So, can a criminal act also turn into like a civil act? Like, can one action have both?
Yes, and obviously, I don't know how you guys even remember O.J. Simpson, okay? I'm only bringing that because I think it's the most glamorized one. There's so many actions. You can also, yes, the short answer is yes, because they're tried differently. Does this make sense? You can be guilty, like, let's say you're not guilty. Let's use O.J. He was found not guilty for the murders of Ron Goldman and Nicole, his ex-wife, right? But he was found guilty in the civil action. There are two different levels of assessment. Everyone clear? Does that make sense? The difference is, and this is real quick, you can never be tried twice for the same action. But criminal court is very different than civil. Does it make sense? That's just the way it works. Any other questions? Yep, feel free. Jeremiah?
So in civil cases, the defendant's not entitled to an attorney, like a public defender.
In a civil? Correct. You want an attorney, you gotta pay for it.
So couldn't essentially someone just say, hey, look, I'm gonna get a good lawyer and I'm gonna sue this person and we're gonna find some way to make this work, and now this person who theoretically did nothing wrong, but doesn't know the law, is gonna be bound by the law to pay some sort of fee because they're not an attorney and they couldn't afford one?
Sure. Life sucks, doesn't it? That could happen. Everyone could. If you've got a real nasty, I know how that could happen easily, but people usually don't take the trouble to do it because it's difficult to prove. Does that make sense? There's a lot of things, and you know what's beautiful, Jeremiah? You didn't even know that you gave me a good intro to chapter 2 with that question. But hold on, Emily.
For civil matters,
Can you hear her in the back? Okay, just making sure.
in civil matters, if you get sued, do you have to have an attorney, or can you just represent yourself?
These are such beautiful questions. Emily said, I don't know if you could hear, if you get sued in civil court, do you have to have an attorney? It's better if you do. But what if you can't afford one? Well, you're on your own. No problem with that. But guess what? No one's gonna take pity on you. Let me just tell you something, and I hope you don't think differently of me. This is just what I did as a living. Don't waste my time. When if I'm getting sued, when I say me, I'm talking my clients. I'm always stepping in, okay? When I was practicing law, and I had a client tell me, Sandra, handle this. I look at it, I'm like, I wonder who the attorney got it. And I look at it and I laugh. Because they don't have an attorney. I'm like, okay, this will be painless because I'll make it quick and easy. You know what I'm saying? I have no mercy on someone that doesn't have an attorney. Because you're bound to know the law. Get over yourself. They'll come up to me during court. You know, I'm by myself. I'm like, too bad. Easier for me, thank you. I don't care. I'm not there for your pity. you're suing my client, I'm gonna spit you out like yesterday's news and make it. And I go, I want a bonus because I did it so fast. That's how it works. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Not my problem, it's civil law. And I'll be honest with you, you guys can think whatever you want, but you would want me to handle it that way. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm there to protect my client. Does that make sense? I'm gonna do what I can within the law. Everyone clear? And I'm gonna make it go away. And the quicker I make it go away, the more I get paid because I get repeat people that want me as their lawyer. You see how that works? It happens all the time. People think, oh, the judge will take pity on me because I can't afford a lawyer. Well, then why are you in the stupid lawsuit? Because it's usually the plaintiff that is filing because they've been wronged. Does this make sense? Typically it is. And it's a joke to me because I'm like, don't waste my time. I'm not gonna tell you how to handle this case. You wanna read it, figure it out? Go ahead. Here's the difference, and I encourage this to people. And my mind thought like this when I was thinking about career choices. I was like, so let me get this right. You gotta know the law, no matter what. You might as well be a lawyer because you get paid for it. Do you see what I'm saying? It's true. Absolute truth. Okay? Think about that. It's pretty valuable. My mind works very logically in that way. Right? So it's true. So yeah. And when you represent yourself, I don't know if you've ever heard these terms, it's called being improper. Okay? And that's life. And that is why if you're a defendant in a criminal lawsuit, it's not improper. You can, some people go, I don't, you got some nut jobs, trust me, you've seen them all. I don't want an attorney. I'm gonna do it myself. You're like, oh, good grief. You know what I'm saying? Sing, So, bottom line, you have the right to absolutely represent yourself, but the law is not going to be conducive to that. You gotta know there's people that can represent themselves too, perfectly. Go for it. Does that make sense? So civil law is about the money, and this is how I get to know your name. Your name, sir?
Jake.
Jake.
If someone sued you, would you get a lawyer, or would you hire someone?
Someone sued me personally?
Yeah.
I would definitely, it depends on the type of lawsuit, for how much and what it's for. I never can answer a question without having more specifics. If it's something I can easily handle, but if it's like a huge ish, I don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really would depend. It
Interesting.
would depend on what they're suing me for. How about that? Because no matter what, I would be actively involved in that lawsuit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I actively know the lawyer that would handle it. See, I've got my people in case, you know what I mean? I don't ever see myself in that situation, but hey, I've got friends because they have friends in me. Does this make sense? That's what's good. So no matter what, I would be actively involved in that matter. And it would be funny because I've never had that situation, but it would actually be super funny because I did help a lawyer friend of mine when I was the lawyer. And he was so funny. He was such a stress cadet because he didn't do litigation. He was transactional work. He's like, are you sure that's right? I'm like, yes. Yes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with litigation, it's nice because I would know the process. Anyway,
Okay.
is that just for your own benefit?
Yeah. I was just wondering.
I'm a control freak, Jay, so most likely yes, but there's a reason why you want an advocate, because I'm not gonna ask questions of myself. Do you see what I'm saying?
100%. It's more valuable, I can see that.
Yeah, two heads are better than one,
Exactly.
and I can roll things off and play things off of people and create a scene and a picture. Everything's smoke and mirrors, people, in law. If you only knew how many cases I'm just like this, I could not stand. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not personal. There's clients I could not stand. There's a lot of clients I loved, okay? There's clients I could not stand, but you would never know it. I go, this is how we're gonna act, and this is what you're gonna do. Follow the script. It is all smoke and mirrors, and people would go, we just love that attorney look. Now I get this guy's a pig, but you know what, we'll be fine. You know what I mean? It's all about the cause of action. See what I'm saying? This is why I'm your professor now. I got so tired of that stuff. Everyone clear? There's a lot of multiple reasons here. Go ahead.
let me know if it's a tangent, but in a civil matter, if I'm suing somebody, I've heard of times where the court will throw it out because it's dumb, right? Like, say I'm suing someone.
Because it's dumb?
Because it's dumb, like, I don't know how the court, and I'm sure we'll get
Did you
into.
say dumb?
Dumb, like, they see it, they get the case, and they're like, oh, this is just stupid,
I don't think
like,
the court thinks
or it's like, maybe not.
lawsuits are dumb,
Like a
but there's
judge.
actual, there, I'm gonna switch the vocabulary.
Alright,
Court lawsuits, I could say every single, tons of lawsuits are dumb, it's not about feelings or emotions. Court cases get thrown out because people have not processed them legally in the correct manner. Does that make sense?
yeah,
There's a procedure for everything, and that's another reason why it's very difficult to be your own attorney. There's deadlines for everything, there's filing, there's just a lot of different actions when you're litigating a case that you have to know. Every little step, you gotta know a lot of stuff. Does that make sense?
yeah,
And if people miss a step, they could have the lawsuit thrown out. It's not because it's dumb, it's because
Okay.
they didn't know what they were doing. Does that make sense?
yes,
And some, maybe they are dumb and they have no cause of action, I don't know.
Okay.
But so much of law is, you gotta know this, what we call the civil procedure, and that's what we're gonna talk about in chapter 2, is the procedure. Does that make sense? We are gonna get into the procedure, because everyone should know, quite simply, what it takes just for like a baby case, like just a car accident case, how it gets into court. I want you to open your mind to understanding the dynamics of what it takes to be involved in a civil action. And so many people don't understand this. And I've had, this is again, way back when, people still ask me how to take a case for them and stuff. But, you know, when potential clients would come to my office and tell me what's going on, they're like, okay, so we're gonna sue, right? They get all sue happy. And I'm like, I'm not taking your case. Okay, you don't want me to. The cost of me is more than what you're gonna get out of this lawsuit. Do you see what I'm getting at? It costs money to make money. And it's very challenging, like when someone comes up to me and they're like out 10 grand, they're not gonna hire me, okay? I will tell them not to. I go, you may wanna cut your losses, go to small claims court and get 5,000 cash. You know what I'm saying? Because in a small claims action, you don't have lawyers. You're not allowed to have a lawyer. See what I'm getting at? Because the cost of making 10 grand with hiring an attorney, you may make only 5 anyway. So you see what I'm just letting you know there's cost to everything. And, you know, people go, how much is a lawyer? It depends on who the lawyer is and whatever experience, like you could sell a bag of goods to anyone. So when I first started, I was so my billables were not that much at the time. It was $70 an hour. I'm like, that's nothing. Okay, I know it's still something today, right? You guys are looking at me like, wow, that was a lot of money. It went way up, okay? Because I was like, I didn't really know, you know, and when I worked for a firm, that's what they were charging their first year associates. But when you prove yourself, I'm like, I honestly thought, oh my God, they're billing me out at $70 an hour. I'm so valuable. Like I thought that was such a big deal until I found out what other people were making. I was like, what? You know what I mean? It all depends on how good you are. And there are attorneys that get paid $400 an hour that I wouldn't pay a penny for. You see what I'm saying? They built a name, but they don't know their crap. They got lucky. It's with any field. Everyone clear? So it's just, civil law is very interesting, and you really should, I always say this to people, always go to an attorney that, I don't know how to describe this to you, but I can only share this with you because it's how it is, that's genuine. I don't know how to explain that. You just get a feel for how someone is. And it's not that you want just the yes person, but you want someone who's just I don't know, it's truthful. It's very hard to navigate, I'll be honest with you. It is like a hard thing to navigate, to find someone who is in it for the right reasons. Does that make sense? Yes, you wanna make a livelihood, but you don't want, I never wanna help, I never help people that come in, they go, I wanna hire you anyway. I go, okay, listen, the facts of your case are not strong. Even though you probably, whatever you're telling me is truthful, I'm not gonna waste your time because I don't think it's winnable. Does that make sense? And people don't like to hear that. They're like, well, if you know, we want you to do it. I go, I'm not taking your money because I know this is probably not winnable. It's just the facts, it's too hard to prove. Does that make sense? But a lot of sharks will take it. Does that make sense? And they'll take your money and say, yeah, we're gonna stroke your ego. It's like, yeah, we think we can win, and they don't win, and you're screwed. Does that make sense? It is what it is, yes.
Doesn't most like civil cases usually end with one party just like not having enough money to continue the civil?
Do most cases, I can't speculate, I don't know. I know I'm getting paid. Sorry, it's funny. You guys are a stiff crowd, you know that? Bunch of corpses. You can laugh, it's true. When you're a lawyer, there's just a lot of navigations, and this is what I hope you're getting a sense of. Stay out of civil court, and for God's sake, stay out of criminal. You know what I'm saying? I'm honestly telling you, it is not fun. It is not a place you want to be. Most business actions are all when you're working in a big firm. There's a lot of corporate stuff going on. Does that make sense? Big contracts with people and stuff like that, and that's typically a lot of it. And then the other stuff, I did do a fair share when I first started medical malpractice, and those are ugly cases. Because there are some major injuries, and it's tragic, you know? People are upset, people are hurt. Those are hard cases, but, you know, it's life. I just want to share with you, if you could, best piece of advice I have for all students is know your rights, know the law, simplicity, you know, just empirically. But the best thing is, don't act like you're the lawyer. When you are having trouble, go seek someone that knows the law. Does that make sense? That's the best I could, and never sign something you can't read. You don't understand. You understand that? If I could give you one piece of it, that's what I would give you. You should learn in this class. Don't sign on the dotted line until you understand what you're signing. Everyone, people sign their life away all day long. You know, you go somewhere and you're like, yeah, whatever, you just sign. I'm that person, I'm like, I'm not signing this. I'm that person, I know, like in doctor's office, you know how they sign stuff? You know, you can give your rights away to sue someone, but you guys do it all the time. I see it when I'm in a doctor's office, they're just like, whatever. I look at it, I know these forms, I'm like, I know where to sign, I know where not to sign. I go, no, I don't agree, I sign my initials. See what I'm saying? You just see, like, people go, well, and the lady goes, so you're not agreeing with this? I go, no, I'm not losing my rights here. It's a doctor's association. People pull fast ones on people all the time. It's just, people will do whatever they can to get away with it. You understand that? So you have a civil court, that's all I can say. But, because of that, and it was interesting what Jeremiah said, so people can just like sue you if they don't like you and you don't have enough money and you're screwed, because you know what to do. They could. There are rules to the game though, okay? So let's talk about that. We're gonna get a gentle end to chapter 2, but I'll recover this, because I think that was a very good lead-in, and I wanna go with it since it's on the top of everyone's head, I hope. Think about that. You could actually file a lawsuit. Let's say you just don't like your neighbor, okay? Let's just use that as an example. You don't like your neighbor. They're making way too much noise. They're encroaching, putting garbage on your side of the lawn. You just don't like them. You're like, I'm just gonna file a lawsuit against them. Well, yeah, and it just seems so unfair. But is it plausible? It could be. But there's a fundamental requirement that has to be satisfied before you can just file a lawsuit. We're gonna get into that. And this is material that's coming from chapter 2, but again, I'm gonna re-cement this and re-get into it on Tuesday. I didn't plan on getting into today, but I will. Okay, I'm gonna use some symbols. This pi sign, it's for plaintiff. It's a legal shorthand I cannot change. I've grown up with it, so you're gonna just get introduced to it. And if you ever go to Starbucks and you put a little pi sign with a yellow legal pad, people think you're a lawyer, seriously. And then the delta is for a defendant. These are just shorthand, okay? Got it? Just a little key. I'm gonna make sure that this is what I use. So there's certain foundational requirement that a plaintiff has to satisfy. These are plaintiff's requirements for going into civil court. Everyone clear? And like Jeremiah said, can you just sue someone just because you don't like them and they're screwed? Well, there's certain requirements that have to be met. We're gonna talk about the first one, and we'll get it soft in today. It's called standing to sue. Okay, these are 3 powerful words, okay? You can't just go to court because you don't like someone. You could try, sometimes it happens and whatever, but there's a foundational requirement that has to be satisfied for any plaintiff to walk into court. You have to satisfy something called standing to sue. Let's break down these words. We're gonna really dissect it, start on Tuesday, but we're gonna get into it right now. Standing to sue means, bottom line, plaintiff, can you establish that you were harmed, that you were wronged in some way? There's gotta be a reason you were here. Does that make sense? It shouldn't be make-believe, okay? So standing to sue is the first foundational requirement that any plaintiff has to at least establish in the complaint. That it's plausible. Were you harmed? And you gotta know this. Harm comes in one of 3 forms. Here we go. It can be physical, which is so easy to identify, right? It can be financial, or, here's the or emotional. So harm, injury, wrong can come in any of those forms. It can be physical, it can be financial, or it could be emotional. As long as you can establish at least one of those, you've established standing to sue. But the harm has to be something that is personal to the plaintiff. It has to be directed at the plaintiff. It has to be something that is tangible with the plaintiff. The book calls it, there has to be some form of what we call a justiciable controversy. That's a mouthful. But it simply means that there's some sort of stake involved where the plaintiff has been impacted or affected. In other words, you can't base your plaintiff, you can't claim you were harmed based on a mere hypothetical situation. Let's talk about that, okay? A hypothetical situation is something that's unripe. It hasn't occurred. It has to be something that is present, right? And something that's impacted you. So let's take an example. Let's take a fact pattern. We'll start right now, okay? We're gonna take a fact pattern, we'll dissect it. Everyone wanna play? You're forced to, so there's nothing else to do right now. So here we go. Okay, so let's all assume, this is a stretch for many of you, if not most of you. Let's all assume you're new parents, okay? I don't know parent, okay? But let's say first child, okay? And let me give you a little more ground rules. As a minor, let me just define who a minor is. A minor is anybody that takes their first breath, this is a legal definition, all the way up to the legal age of majority, which is 18. During one breath, that first breath, all the way up to the legal age of majority, which is 18, you are living in your years of minority, which means you are considered a minor. Do you, as a minor, have the ability to bring a lawsuit? Absolutely, okay? Your parent and or legal guardian will bring it on your behalf. Everyone clear? Got it? Okay, because I'm bringing one example, I have to give you a definition. Okay, so, everyone clear? Okay, so you're a brand new parent and, oh my God, junior, great kid, couple days old. But let me just tell you something. This kid has a set of loans on him, and he's screaming. This kid does not want to sleep. The only time Junior sleeps is if you're home enough. The minute you put Junior down, shh, like it's piercing. It's like, remember your baby cry was like, you feel like they're choking? This is your kid, okay? And we're all gonna pretend we're plaintiffs here. You understand that? I want you to feel being a plaintiff in a fact pattern. So, a week, 2 weeks go by, you've got bags, your bags have bags under their eyes. You are exhausted, trying to keep this kid asleep. You go to sleep and it's just screaming, you're wearing earplugs, it's awful. So around 3:15 in the morning, you're watching this stupid infomercial. And you know how the TV talks to you at that hour? It's like, do you need some sleep? You're like, God, yes. Do you have a kid that's screaming because an infant never goes to sleep? Yes. They're talking directly to you. We have the answer. And you're like, what is it? They're like, purchase the Play School Rockabye Crib. Guaranteed to get Junior, no, we call him Junior to sleep in less than 10 minutes with its lullaby rocking motion. And you're like, this is awesome. Your bags are just like this. It goes, you can call, and you're just speed dialing the number. Call them up. I want that express delivery time, Amazon, get in here. Everyone clear? So you get the Play School Rockabye Crib, which is guaranteed to put Junior to sleep in less than 10 minutes, or your money back. This too, for $99.99. Everyone clear? Why do they always say that $99.99? Can they just make it full $100? But no. Okay, so bottom line, you purchase this crib. Junior, you put Junior down. He's screaming while you're setting the crib up, and you're like, I have no idea why I bought this piece of trash. Do you ever done that when you buy something and you know that it's not gonna work, but you still, like, you're going through the motions, and you're like, I'm probably not even gonna send it back because of the cost of putting it back in? Got a ton of crap like that, you know what I'm saying? You don't even know why. So you set it up and you're like, I hope this works. Put Junior in the crib. And you're setting the timer, you're recording this because you wanna make sure, get your $99.99 back. You're already thinking the worst because Junior's still screaming, you're like, this is a piece of crap crib. Okay, 5 minutes go by and he starts going a little bit softer. It's about 7.5 minutes, Junior is, you think dead. You touch him, he's asleep. You're like, what? Okay, you don't even know what happened because you sleep for about 48 hours and he's still sleeping. He's making up for lost time. You get up and you're like, what just happened? You're freaking out because you don't even remember you're a parent. And you look, oh my God, the kid's still sleeping. This is the best day ever. Best $99.99 I've ever spent in my life. You are making coffee this time, not because you want to, but because, not because you need it, but because you desire it. You want the taste of coffee. You're like, this is the best day ever. He's making up for lost time. Grab your cup of coffee, turn on TV, news comes on. There's a broadcaster. Broadcaster says, recall, recall. And you're like, recall to what? And you see that this mom and dad crying in a little baby coffin going by. Recall, recall. You're a sick one. She's laughing. You don't like that. Feel the example. Please no. These are morbid examples. However, it'll be memorable, right? Okay, so it says recall, recall on all Play School Rockabye cribs. Okay? This gently rocking motion, you're gonna wait for this, just crushes the spines of the babies as they sleep. No, I'm kidding. So they're saying this, and the kids are like, the parents are crying. You're just having your coffee. You're like, there's no way at all that I bought that same crib. That's what you're thinking. The crib's working fine. And then you're like, what? You don't know what brand you bought? And you're like, what was that crib? And I said, Play School. I'm like, what did I buy? The box is still out in the back. You look, like, it's Play School. And then it says serial number 012345. You run to Junior's nursery. You look at the little tag. You're like, what's the serial number of this stupid crib? Better not be the same crib. You're like, it says 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You start clamming up. Literally, you just like feel nauseous. You break out in hives. You grab Junior. You call. No, I can't. You call. Who else would you call? Your best friend, the attorney, right? Call the attorney. You go, this is what happened. The attorney's like, what's the name of the crib that you bought? Play School. You're like, it's a chain. The attorney sees. So the attorney goes, so this is what you're gonna do. you're gonna go see a shrink. Okay? You go to a doctor to verify stuff. Got it? Okay. Shrink says you're mentally messed up. Okay? Shrink says you're mentally messed up. Doctor says you've got this weird syndrome. That you develop ulcers, hives, hives all over your body. Some respiratory issues, and mentally cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? And so the attorney files a lawsuit against Play School. It's a big name, you know that? Okay. Now, question, class. Remember, you can sue on behalf of the parent, okay? You're suing as a parent, all sorts of stuff going on. Do not change the facts. Do you see where I'm going with this? Don't ask me to change the facts. I'm giving them to you. That's what they are. Question. Do you, plaintiff, have standing to sue? I'm going to take in all of your opinions and we'll discuss it. And then I'll give you the right answer. Everyone clear? Why or why not? I'm just gonna go down the line. What's your name, sir?
Pedro.
Pedro, what do you
Yes.
think? Standing to sue, why or why not?
If you would stand to sue, like if the
You,
suing-
it's you're the plaintiff.
So okay.
Remember, make it personal, people. We want to stop.
Well, I think I would, cause so I'd honestly like if it was my baby, I'd probably like fake
It is your baby, just pretend.
Okay, it's
Feel
my
the
baby.
part, Pedro, okay?
I would like break the machine on purpose and like say that my baby like got messed up and everything, make her like more messed
There's
up.
always one in every crowd.
Yeah.
Thank you, criminal Pedro. I'm gonna skip your set, I'm just gonna go, sir, your name.
Chris,
Chris, what do you think?
I think yeah, because they're emotionally distressed.
Okay, at least you listen to Chris. He's saying something where he's not breaking the stupid thing, okay? Pedro. You're all about the money in a lot of different ways, okay? Do not do criminal behavior to make money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I find you awfully hilarious, okay? So you've got Pedro. Please know I'm highly sarcastic. Everything's fun. Everyone understand? I will harass all of you equally. You understand that? Just know that, okay? So you got Pedro, you got Chris. Sir, your name.
Alessandro,
Alessandro, what do you think?
I think you do have Chinese.
Tell me why.
Because you're directly affected by the death of the baby.
You are? You're the plaintiff. Don't have to say me.
I
It's
would
not
be
about.
directly affected by the death of the
You.
baby.
Okay. Okay. Sir. What is your name?
Armando.
Armando. Hold on. So you've got Emily, you've got Pedro, Chris, Alejandro,
Sandra.
Sandra.
Yeah.
Just Sandra.
Alessandro.
Alessandro. And,
Armando.
okay, Armando, what do you think?
I think I do. Now, my child's dead and I'm the one that's traumatized.
Did I say the child? How are you guys? It's like, you know that game Operator? You guys are just gonna lose on that game. Right? You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm talking about? Sometimes they say stuff and I'm like, do they even know what I'm talking? It's like, wah, wah. I'm like, oh, Charlie Brown, teacher. Like,
Well, there's.
kid's not dead.
okay.
Go ahead.
There's some sort of, kids maybe suffer some injury or something happens to the child, so now I have to deal with that. And I'm the one that's taking care of the child.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there because I don't wanna go further than 1, 2, 3, 4 of you. Because it's a train wreck, okay? So we're gonna stop the train, and I know some of you would have gotten the right answer. It's not worried about like being bragging, like I know the right answer and these people don't. We're all learning. Everyone clear? I don't care. Please know this, I'm not that professor that, you know how there's always one student, I knew that, and then she never called on me. I don't care. Everyone clear? I'm sure all of you will get it during when's important. Test it. Everyone understand that? That's all I care about. I don't care about anything other than when I see that test. Everyone clear? Got it? So just know that and let's work with it. So you've got Pedro, you've got Chris, you've got Alessandro and Armando. Is that right?
Yes.
I know you're Emily. I know Jaime. Isaac, Jeremiah, Jake, Eli. Oh, I think I know your name. That girl, Lucy, no, what is it? Lauren. I knew it was an L. See what I'm saying? I get there. It just takes me a while to absorb it. Let's go back to the definition. What is standing to sue? It is if a plaintiff can establish that they were in some way directly impacted or affected in some way where they can establish that there was some sort of harm, which can come in what? Physical form, financial form, or what?
Emotional.
Or emotional, just need one. And it was what? Direct. It impacted them, okay? Or if there was a threat, it was imminent. Does that make sense? You have to feel that you had some sort of personal stake in them. Now, we got a couple of different responses here, but in the fact pattern, did I say anything happened to the child?
No.
No. So guess what? You do not have standing to sue. Because what you're trying to do is say you have standing to sue based on what we call a hypothetical situation. It's not right. You don't have any claim for all of the crazy that's happened to you. You're emotionally distraught. Oh well. You're got hives. Oh well. Why do you have all this when your baby's fine? Do you see what I'm getting at? That's ridiculous. Folks, think about this analogy. You turn on the TV, I know I see this and it makes me sick. It absolutely makes me sick. Some lunatic took a little child from the playground, sodomized them, chopped them up, and threw them in the backwoods. I'm sorry, this is reality of what we live in. People are sick. They're vile, evil weirdos, okay, floating around. As a mom with kids, if I had some syndrome where I broke out in hives because I'm scared that that'll happen to my kids, do you see what I'm saying? I can't sue. And I'm sorry that I'm distraught. I mean, turning on the news, everyone's emotionally distraught. Everyone clear? You can't sue unless you're the mom that had that child happen to. And thank God you're not. Do you see what I'm saying? But you can't base your lawsuit on a mere hypothetical. What if this was me? What if my child got hurt? What if this? You can have reactions to everything in life. Everyone clear? That's not up to, hey, sorry, broke out in hives, thinking that you could have killed your kid. Notice the operative word, that your kid could have been harmed. I'm sorry that you watched the news and you saw that you have some, a crib that's very similar to the crib that this kid got hurt by. Do you see what I'm saying? So everyone that drives a car that has an issue with the car, and you have the same car, but you don't have anything happen to you, what? Do you see what I'm saying? That's Cuckooville. I'm trying to make you understand something. You have to have been harmed. That is number one component. And people, now you're starting to understand, file lawsuits all the time because they believe they were harmed. You see what I'm saying? I have hives. The doctor said I'm emotionally distraught over this. I'm now making sure Junior's in a bubble everywhere we go. Do you see what I mean? I don't know, whatever is going on with you. Everyone clear? You can have real consequences to something you see. That doesn't make the crib or whatever, it doesn't make the person who you bought the goods from responsible for how you react, because there was no actual harm done to the baby. Does that make sense? Now, if you're stupid enough to see if your baby's like Pedro here, leave the baby in, let the baby get hurt. Now I'm making money now. I'm kidding. You know I'm kidding. Can you laugh?
Yeah.
So you're not happy.
No, I'm
But
happy.
I'm gonna continuously pick on you because you laugh.
No, okay.
Okay, all right.
I'll let.
Okay, so bottom line, forcing him to laugh is even scaring me. Okay, so do you see what I'm getting at? Yes? I just want to, like you're seeing what this is? You cannot judge based on a hypothetical situation. Jake, you have a question?
Yes.
And I see your hand, but I always ask for questions after.
Yeah, sorry, okay.
That's okay.
So my question is, what if the mother was standing to sue against the news for
Real
misleading
quickly, what is
information?
Jake, for class,
On
Mia,
herself.
what is Jake doing that I said you can't do?
Okay.
Changing the facts? Adding facts that I haven't asked?
So-
Remember what I said, Jake? Nope. Jake, remember what I said? You started saying, what if, I'm like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Okay, but.
Nope.
the story is that the mother was watching the news, correct? That's how the fact is
It was
that-
you, Jake, you're the parent.
Okay, I'm the parent, I was watching the news, and now I'm traumatized by the misinformation that the news provided me.
It
Now,
wasn't. How do you know I didn't say it was misinformation.
okay, it's not misinformation, but my child is still okay.
Your child's perfectly fine.
And so I
You
go
called
to,
your lawyer?
so I go to the doctors, and.
Your lawyer told you to go to the doctors,
Yes,
you have to
and-
repeat. the
And I'm
facts.
diagnosed with, I'm reading the
Weird.
facts, and so then I'm diagnosed with hives, and I'm going to stand to sue against the news,
I didn't say, is that what I say you were suing? They said they were gonna take the play school down. You
okay.
cannot change the
I
facts.
see, okay, sorry.
And you would have nothing against the news, by the way. Little footnote, just a little help you out.
If anything, they.
There's no standing to sue here, people! I mean, if that was the case, we'd all be suing the news for our emotional trauma every single second of every minute of every day. You'd be suing watching CIS. Everyone clear? I mean, I just is dumb though. Do you see what I'm getting at? These people are trying to create something where whatever it's TV, this is not real. The news can, we don't even know if that's real anymore, but anyway, the bottom line is, whatever you're watching, I'm gonna make it real simple and very empirical so this makes sense. And I want this is super important. This is not an easy concept. It really isn't, but it's a foundational one. Jake, did anything happen to the baby?
No.
There you go. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And did anything happen to the baby because of the crib?
Mhm.
There we go. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
That's the question. See what, does that help you?
Yeah,
Because I said you're suing play school
I
for the injury. But you wouldn't have, I had to throw in the freebie, you can't sue the news either. Okay? Because this baby's still fine. Everyone clear? What I'm trying to say, and I'm happy you brought that question up, Dave. There's so many things that are how you react to something is not a legal problem unless it is the reason you're suing, there's a direct connection to what you're reading. Does that make sense? Does that help you?
Mhm.
Okay, that's what the direct impact means. It cannot be based on something hypothetical. What if? Can't do it. Any other questions so far? And your name?
Aranza.
Aranza. All the A's. I mean, Aranza. I love all these names. Go ahead.
So I have a question
Sure.
about the term. So a plaintiff.
Standing to sue?
No, a plaintiff.
Okay.
So can a plaintiff change to victim once the case is proven?
Can a plaintiff, well, it's.
Or the plaintiff is already a
The
victim?
bottom line is, the only way a plaintiff becomes a victim is if there's enough where the police have to work with the state of California with the district attorney's office, where there's enough evidence to show probable cause that the crime's been committed. And that's when
So that's
a
on
criminal
crime.
action, that's a complete different situation.
Oh, okay. So this is civil, right?
Yes, we're gonna stay in civil forever in this semester. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's Aranza, right?
Yeah.
Aranza. Sir, your name?
Joseph,
Joseph.
can people still sue after the company issued a recall?
Okay, we're just talking about this particular case, but I appreciate the interest. I'm just trying to teach you what standing to sue means. You see what I'm trying to do? Please know this, I absolutely am over the moon happy that you guys are interested because it's fueling your curiosity in all of this stuff. But all I'm trying to do right now is dissect, and I haven't even covered standing to sue yet. This is like one of the most preliminary but foundational issues that you have to learn in this class, which is the catalyst to start a complaint. Everyone clear? Which is a plaintiff has to show harm. And it can come in one of three forms: physical, or financial, or emotional, and that harm has to directly impact or affect the plaintiff in some way. If there was a contract, that plaintiff had to be in the center of it. Does that make sense? That controversy had to impact that plaintiff in a personal, direct manner. It cannot be based on a hypothetical or what-if situation. Got it? Your name's
Abigail?
Abigail. Another A, wow, okay. You're Joseph, though. Okay. I'm sorry, Joe, I just wanted to let you know, I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm really sticking to the concept, Abigail.
Aren't there class lawsuits where if
questions
Yeah, so.
over the scope right now.
Right.
Okay? But please, no, remember what I said? I asked the question because you won't know, but I'm keeping you centered on learning, on what you need to know to do. So the foundations of this class. Everyone clear? I love it because you guys hear all this stuff and I get it. You're going all the way over to Z. So we're just taking it right back to baby A. Okay, I'm gonna pause right there because there's so much more to know in the area of standing to sue, but I wanna let you know something. That concept of standing to sue is basically like a paragraph in chapter 2, but it took over 25 minutes and we haven't even finished it. Do you see what I'm getting at? It's the first introductory material is very dense in qualitative thought, but there's not a lot of reading. But you're gonna have to be able to understand how to apply these concepts with the changing fact patterns that are on your exam. Make sense? So we'll get there, but I think you're starting to appreciate how you can apply it. Does that make sense? So we're just gonna get there. So what I want you to do for Tuesday is, you don't even have to read all of chapter 2, just read half of it. Does that make sense? We're gonna take it piecemeal. And for those that walked in late or somehow I did not make eye contact with you, come see me so I can mark you as attending. And